everybody. Welcome back. This is Miss Faye, and this is my world. All right, today's topic is abuse behind the pulpit. We're going to talk about the sociopath. Now, to start us off, I did pull a short video. Let's watch this video. Then we have a letter. I'm going to read the letter and talk about this issue. Abuse behind the pulpit. The sociopath. Here we go.
A sociopathic narcissist is the most sinister of all of the cluster Bs, and today I'm going to break down exactly why that is. Not only do these people have a grandiose ego and an overinflated sense of entitlement, but they live in a delusional world, but that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that a sociopathic narcissist has zero regard for human emotion. They don't actually feel empathy, so they have zero regard for it. And this is why they actually don't care or feel anything when they destroy people. As a matter of fact, they do it intentionally because they get dopamine. They get pleasure off of it because they feel like your emotions are just pathetic. And the more you try to explain how this person's making you feel, the more they're just going to get aggravated and destroy you. The more they're going to punish you and gaslight you, lie to you, manipulate you, blame shift on you. In fact, they're going to go and smear you and start setting fires everywhere around you just to confuse you because they get off on this. This provides them with a lot of dopamine, and it's called Duper's Delight. Sociopathic narcissists have zero regard for human emotions.
All right, let's dive into this letter. I'm a 45-year-old woman. I'm really struggling to understand the situation I found myself in. I started dating a 55-year-old man from my church. He's one of the deacons. And when we first met, I honestly thought he was the answer to my prayer. I believed that God had finally sent me the right man, someone stable, kind, and grounded in faith. He had been married before and has 2 grown children. I've never been married. I worked in the medical field, and he's an engineer. On paper, everything looked like a perfect match. I even thought maybe this is the man I finally can build a life with. About 4 months into dating, he suggested we move in together. I hesitated at first because that's a big step, especially with someone I met through church. But eventually I agreed, thinking this could be the start of something serious and lasting. The first month was fine. He was charming, respectful, and attentive. But little by little, I started to see the changes. He became moody, impatient, and short-tempered. It was like walking on eggshells. One minute, he's kind and spiritual, and the next, he's snapping over the smallest things. Then one day, he did something I never saw coming. He slapped me. I was completely shocked. I remember just standing there, frozen. I couldn't believe that this man, this church leader who talks about faith and love, could do something so violent. He apologized afterward and said he would pray about it, that he wanted to do better. But since then, his behavior has only gotten worse. Almost fell out laughing there. We've already gone through this church counseling, but honestly, it hasn't helped. He still loses his temper, and sometimes I can see in his eyes that he's about to strike me again. I don't recognize him anymore. This man who once quoted scripture to me now uses silence, anger, and fear to control me. I keep asking myself, who is this man really? Was he always like this and just hid it and just hid it well at first? Or did something change him along the way? I feel stuck between my love for what I thought we had and the reality of what's really happening now. That's a tough situation. And from your letter, I see you just moved in together, and thank goodness you're not married to him. Okay, so we can get rid of him. All right, because this guy is what we call a sociopath. And now we need to explain exactly what a sociopath is. Okay. All right. The sociopath is someone who has anti-social personality disorder. They lack sympathy or a conscience. So the sociopath is pretty much like the narcissist in a lot of ways, because the narcissist doesn't have this either. They don't have empathy. They don't care if they hurt you. As a matter of fact, when they do, it's intentional. Okay, it's the same thing with the sociopath. All right. So now they are often manipulative, deceptive, and impulsive. Again, that's just like the narcissist. See, they're like cousins. They're so close together. They do the same things. They manipulate you the same way. They gaslight you the same way. They lie to you the same way. But there is a distinct difference. They are charming at first, but their goal is usually to control or exploit. That's it. Same thing. They want to use and abuse you. And you are the one who's destroyed in the end, because these people are like what we call the energy vampires. And the energy vampires is just like the name. They suck energy. Have you ever been with somebody and when you leave them, you are exhausted? Whatever they do, they're talking or whatever they do, they're able to suck your energy. And it may be getting you engaged in talking more in a conversation about you and your issues. Well, that's giving your energy away, or talking about your dreams and your desires. That could be giving your energy away, but you have to watch out for these energy vampires. And the sociopath definitely is one. They have a pattern of lying, breaking the rules, or taking advantage. For sure. For sure. And that's why they are with you. See, this is a demonic energy. All right. And the sociopath is like the narcissist. These two disorders were created. All right. They weren't born this way. They weren't born a narcissist, born a sociopath. Now, the psychopath is the one that's born. Okay, but not the sociopath. Okay, but the sociopath and the narcissist, they're like cousins. They are very much alike. Then they may become aggressive or violent if feel threatened or challenged. That is the difference between the sociopath and the narcissist. The main difference is that the sociopath is aggressive and violent. All right. So if you're with somebody and they act like a narcissist, but they put their hands on you, they're sociopathic. Okay. The narcissist is emotionally abusive, which it could be more damaging because for somebody who can destroy your psychic, the way that you feel about yourself, destroy your self-esteem, that could be more damaging than a person hurting you physically. Of course, it depends on, how hurt you are. But yeah, they're both uh, demonic energies that you need to be aware of. But just know that if you're with somebody and you see narcissistic tendencies, and then they want to start controlling you in a physical way. First, they'll start easy. You usually don't get the strike until they feel very comfortable with you, feel like you're not going nowhere or can't go nowhere. And now they're going to show you who's the boss. Okay. So now they don't feel like they can or even want to communicate with you that way. Maybe nobody communicated with them that way growing up. And that's why they're a sociopath. You see? So then they're just carrying on that curse to everybody that they come in contact with. And that is they communicate through aggression. You see? They'll tell you one time, and then the second time they will hurt you. Things like that. Okay? That's the sociopath. Where when you go into the psychopath, usually he'll just decide in his mind that you need to go. And without warning, you'll be gone. You understand? So uh, the thing is, you need to understand how close that these demonic energies are together. And you don't want to be caught up with any of these three. But if he has narcissistic characteristics, you need to watch him. Because narcissists are created just like sociopaths from trauma, childhood trauma. So if they indicate they had a very rough childhood, many times they're not going to tell you just how rough it was, but you'll get bits and pieces from maybe other family members of some atrocities that happened in the family when they were very young. And this could have been traumatizing to the person. That's what creates a narcissist and a sociopath. Okay, trauma. So it says here, a sociopath knows right from wrong. They just don't care. They don't care. Their actions are about power, thrill, and control, not emotional validation. So they don't care what you think. They do it because it makes them feel good. It satisfies that demonic energy in them. That's why they do it. You understand? The little voice says, do it. They do it. And the gratification, it makes them feel powerful. You understand? That's how that energy works. So just be aware of who you may be dealing with. And for the letter, you know you can't be with him. He's in your place. Kick him out. And ladies, don't fall for men who claim they're so religious. These are the worst men ever. Because as soon as you meet somebody and they proclaim to be a Christian or Buddhist or whatever they believe that will impress you, now you're blinded by that. You understand? It's almost like they cast a spell on you when they say that. So whatever they do, you excuse it as, maybe you just backslid for a moment. And you can be forgiven because all you got to do is confess your sins and you can be forgiven. You see, that's why people sin so freely, because religion makes them believe all you got to do is confess it and your ticket is stamped. And, the other thing, these houses are full of these predators, these narcissists, these sociopaths. Now, I don't know if it's many psychopaths, there because you don't hear about many murders, and that usually that follows the psychopaths. But for sociopaths, it may be. I don't know how violent they are, but the narcissists, yes. Narcissists feed on the admiration. And when you're in the religious community, their leaders get a lot of admiration. You see? Now, for your man in the letter, I think he said that he was not too long getting out of a relationship than meeting you. Was it a year for both of you? Well, the whole thing is you have never been married. And you didn't say, is this the first time you've run upon a man like this? Either way, you have formed a soul tie with him. And you're going to find it difficult to throw him out because you're bonded to the man. Okay. And even when you tell him, you need to go or whatever, he's going to resist. He's going to push and pull and all that until he can find another place to go. And him being who he is, he's not bound to you. He will go on and find somebody else. You understand? So this is to save you from heartbreak down the road. This man, from what I gather here with you already having a stable home, sounds like narcissist move to me. They do that. And oh yeah, and we already said he was a sociopath. That's a narcissistic move for because they have to have supply, and supply needs to have a stable home. Okay, not unless the narcissist can't do any better at the time and he'll sell for somebody in an apartment, but they're looking for somebody who's got a stable place so that they can, lay down for a minute without having to pick up and move right away. So anyway, let's see if I answered everything that you needed to know. Who was this man really? He's a sociopath because he was violent with you. And he was already showing that he was a narcissist. So the violence made him a sociopath. And you feel love, for him because you have a soul tie with him. So whenever you get rid of him, you are going to have to go through some healing, a healing process to get rid of his energy in you. Got to break that soul bond between you and him. Then, it's going to take a while. And then you'll be free to move on to something else. But you need to take your time with these things. And I understand how it could happen because you in the church, here he is an officiate in church. We have been taught that that's the ideal situation. I was raised in the church, same thing. Just the ideal situation, to meet somebody in the church. But nobody told me how many queer people are in the church. And think about it. Why do people go to church anyway? These are broken people. These are people who are seeking help. I mean, these are people with all kind of afflictions that go to the church. So why do you think you'll be meeting your perfect match in a situation like that? No. If people had everything that they needed in life and they had a happy life, why would they go to church? Life is good. You understand? People that go to church are not happy people. You see? And the officiates in church, they have learned to use that vulnerability to their own benefit. And the the deacons in the church, they're just pastors in training kind of thing. That's all it. Pastors in training to see if they want to step up to that level. You see. So, anywho, I hope that I answered your question today. I really hope that it helps someone. Now, anyone that has a question that you'd like for me to answer, my email address is in the description. And if you're looking for today's affirmation, the link is also in the description. I want to thank you so much for supporting this channel. Thank you for your comments and your letters, and a very special thank you to those that leave a donation. I have chosen to help a family this holiday season, and I'm going to need your help. So the donations that you send will go toward helping a family to enjoy the holiday season. You know, it's so many people out here who can't afford to eat. They can't even afford to feed their children. And I would just like to help someone enjoy their holiday. Just send me the cost of a cup of coffee. And if you can't afford that, just send $1. But just know that whatever you give, the universe will give you tenfold back. So give freely to help someone during this holiday season. When you give, your heart expands, your vibration rises, and your faith strengthens. It makes you stop living from fear and start living from trust that the universe will always provide. Now, giving purifies the soul. It dissolves the ego, heals karma, and opens the heart chakra. And it allows love, joy, and abundance to flow freely into your life. When you bless others, you actually are blessing yourself. So people, give generously, knowing that giving does not deplete you. It expands you. I really appreciate all of you. I wish you all the very best and happiness. And I really hope to see you next time.